Hello again guys, bit of a different video this time. I haven't seen anyone do this yet on YouTube yet, that's why I'm going to do it. Basically I'm going to do a rundown of a tackle list of everything you need to do for UK float fishing. For people who don't know what float fishing is fishing with a float, such as something like this. There's a stick float, and basically it stays on top of the water like that, and there's your indication, and then when a fish bites it gets pulled under the water like so, and then you would strike into the fish. So I'm going to do a rundown of the tackle list. This is not accessories, so this won't be rod rests, it won't be chairs, it won't be umbrellas, things like that. This is just all the tackle you'll need. So your rod, I'm going to include the rod, what I use, the reel I use, the length of line I use, like the weight, some of the floats, and just all the tackle basically. Just so you know, I'm not paid by any company such as the tackle brands I use. I'm not sponsored by any of them, so it's just literally what I use for my budget and what works for me. And I hope you enjoy the video. Right, so we're going to start the video with the rod I use. The rod I use is a 12-foot Shakespeare Sigma match rod, and you can see there. I like this one, it's got a nice test curve and it's for my budget. And when I'm fishing lakes and sort of wide rivers, you can really pound them floats out, which I use. And also when it's windy, it gives me all that extra control, I find. For my budget at the moment, that's what I use, until I find something which can do the job better, and if I can afford it really. I pair that up, I know it's going to sound very cliche, with a Shakespeare agility reel. I use the single handle with the foam grip, and I use the shallow spool for when I'm float fishing. I prefer the rear, the front drag. I find it's a bit better. I prefer that. I pair that up with 4-pound line. Can't remember the brand. I think it's NGT or something. That's what I use, and that's what I use for my rod and reel setup and line setup. Let's get on to some of the tackle now. So before I run down in like a breakdown of the tackle I use, just show you how I sort of have it laid out. We've got, these are sort of ledger bombs which I use, shots in there as well. I have my scissors, plummets, that's what we'll get to those in a bit. My floats, some feeders. These are all my hooks. They're loose, they're not to line, and they are tied to line as well. Pellet bander, some pellet bands, and some quick release swivels. In here, this is like my little accessory bit. I've got fake baits, beads, float adapters. Float adapters I use a lot for using floats, and float bands. We'll get to those in a bit. And in here, I don't know if I've got any pre-made. Let's try and open these. Come on, try and do this one-handed. There we are. These are just ones I've used. All the ones I use I put back sort of in my rig, what do you call it, hook length holder or rig holder. And the ones underneath, they're ones I've made myself. I don't really use braid for float fishing because I don't really use hair rigs. I use fluorocarbon or monofilament. So that's how it's laid out, and we'll do a breakdown of what each thing is now. Right, we're going to start by looking at floats, as obviously we're float fishing. I always say, basically I carry a few, about 3 different types, depending on what I'm doing. I haven't bought floats for ages. Yeah, four, sorry, I use. For my river fishing, or fast flowing rivers, or whatever I'm using in my rivers, I use a stick float. This one's just a Drennan big stick, it's called, 2BB, and that's attached with bands at the top and the bottom, and I use that for my river fishing, sorry. And then I use this one's called a puddle chucker for sort of lakes and ponds. You've got a big bottom at the bottom to help with the surface tow, and I'll apply for the yellow sort of tops, that sort of thing. And then my wagglers, these are just the smallest of the wagglers I carry. I carry all different sizes. just basic crystal, I think they're called crystal wagglers. This one's a 3BB, this is a fine insert one. I use that for when I'm using sort of backwaters and small ponds, and I find with roach the insert tip gives me a finer presentation, and it just carries on for them delicate bites. And then for my sort of slow moving rivers and sort of bigger lakes, sorry, I use just a standard crystal waggler. This one's a 3BB again, smallest I carry. I do carry sort of big, sort of think 2AA ones as well, if I really want to get out there, and I prefer these with the thicker tops, or standard wagglers, for just using everything else, sort of bigger fish, chub, that sort of thing. Alright, I'm just going to do a little bit of bonus sort of tackle piece. It's more of a something to make yourself easier, not a necessity, so to speak. Is these things, they're called float adapters. There's a little piece of silicone with an eye on, I don't know if you can see that, and the way it works is you put that through the line through that, and then you just push the float into it like so, and it will be in the float. And then say for instance weather changes, you can't see it, or the glare on the things in a different area, take your float off, and then you can easily just bam, next float on. So that's just a little thing I carry with me, not a necessity, but something to make your life a lot easier. Next thing is a necessity, so to speak. It's basically float rubbers. It's basically the little rubber bands which go on your floats. So if you're pole fishing, we'll do another video on that, so stay tuned. Or if you're using stick floats like so, you can't physically, there's no eye on the float, so you can't physically attach the float to the line without these. Piece we've got here, this is how I keep my shots. As you can see, they're all organised. I'm out of SSGs and stuff, so we've got everything from my smallest ones, which are number 8s I think they are, all the way up to, I think these are BBs. I need to label these, I haven't really thought this out very well. These are a must-have for float fishing. Basically what you do with these, I don't know if you can really see, no you can't, the camera's not really focusing. Basically it's a little ball weight which has a slit in, and what you do is you basically pinch it onto the line, and that acts as a weight to help cock the float. But these are a must, every float fisherman must have these, alright? Next piece of equipment, terminal tackle, so to speak. Let me say that. I've got a couple of different hooks. I've got everything from, these ones just eyed, you got to tie them onto your line, tie your own hook lengths. And if you don't know how to tie your own hook length, take a look at my how to tie hook length video. I'll show you all the way to do it. I've also got sort of, these are Drennan, these are 16s to 3-pound line. I keep those for me. I got barbless specimens, I don't know if you can see those. More 16s. When I'm float fishing, I normally go for sort of roach, small fish, sort of that sort of thing, but build a big weight up into the keep net. So I don't tend to really use anything above probably 14. I don't really use, maybe a 12. And as you can see, these ones, I don't know if you'll be able to see them on the camera, but they're tied straight to the line. These I really do like. They work really well. Really fine wired hook, nice little micro bob. I really like using those. Last piece of gear for float fishing, and then I'll let you go. Plummets. These come in all different things. Small ones. This one's I think this was just 21 gram. It's quite heavy actually. And it's a weight. Put the hook through the eye and then pierce the cork a bit, and that sits on the bottom of the water like so, and that is used to help find the depth of the water you're finishing, the swim you're fishing, and then things like scissors and stuff like that. But they're the main bits of tackle you need for float fishing. Let me know if I've missed anything. That's all I take anyway, and I seem to get on quite fine. But that's everything you definitely need to float fish. You could, with plummeting as well, if you use a really light float, You can actually use an SSG shot and just pinch it on the hook and just use that as a plummet instead, if it's very slow moving as well. But I mainly use this sort of size, especially if I'm fishing at distance. Alright, well if you like that, just take a look at the next video. Sorry, if you like that, subscribe, like the video, and I'm going to do the next one I'm going to do on tackle and gear will be for leathering or fishing with a weight and fishing on the bottom, alright? So I'll see you in the next video.